This is the Shayne and Mike Show on Dirty Water News. Bringing the highlights and hard hits. We love that. Dirty Water. Boston, you're our home.
Oh my! What a magnificent finish to this ball game!
Show brought to you by Boston Sports Radio, the UR Business Network, and Dirty Water News. The Red Sox are one of the more active teams at this year's non-waiver trade deadline. Departing from the Sox are John Lester, John Lackey, Felix Doubront, Andrew Miller, Stephen Drew, Jake Peavy and his duckboat, and Johnny Gomes. Arriving in return are Yoenis Cespedes, Alan Craig, Joe Kelly, Kelly Johnson, and 3 minor league pitching prospects. The Red Sox also designated Mike Karp for assignment. Other big names on the move are David Price, who is headed to the Tigers, and Austin Jackson, who goes to the Mariners. Dustin Johnson has taken a leave of absence from the PGA Tour after he allegedly failed 3 drug tests since 2009, amongst other allegations of indiscretions. The New England Patriots hosted its annual season ticket open practice tonight at Gillette as week 2 of training camp comes to a close. Headlines for the Shayne and Mike Show are brought to you by Boston Sports Radio, the UR Business Network, and Dirty Water News.
Love that dirty water.
Love that dirty water, baby. Man, what a week it's been. I mean, Mark, last time we were talking about John Lester and the numbers you'd get. But for Mark Brothers and the infamous Dan Brothers, this is the Shayne and Mike Show. What's going on, guys?
How are you?
Mike. Pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you, Dan. This is 2-time Mass State Lacrosse
Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year.
There it is, Mike.
Had to finish that off there. 2-time Mass State Coach of the Year. Dan Brothers, I mean.
Former host of the show, The Sportsman, as well.
Former host of the show, The Sportsman. I mean.
And current voice of the MIAA Sports. So just if you want to really get the resume going, I want to throw that one in for you.
And he's also Mark's dad.
And that's one of the greatest accomplishments I've had in life, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So, as Dan said in the headlines, Lester, Lackey, Gomes, Drew, Doubront, Peavy, and Miller were all shipped out of town this week. What do you guys think about that?
Well, the one thing I can say is that the New York Yankees are my new favorite team because they took Stephen Drew off our hands. I would have traded him for a bucket of balls.
You know, did you have to go there that early? Really? Yeah. You know how that hurts.
Hey, right here, guys, we have by the way, on his resume, too, Dan Brothers is the president of the Stephen Drew, J.D. Drew fan club, the only person in Boston.
The only guy in the city.
So, you can all have your thoughts and opinions on that. But
the reason why they brought Stephen Drew back was the poor performance of Bogarts at shortstop. And you know what? He's gone to New York now, and all of a sudden he's learned a new trick, second base, which he couldn't play here. So.
But, I mean, as Dan said in the headlines, all these guys were shipped out. John Lester traded the Oakland A's alongside Johnny Hacksaw Gomes for Yoenis Cespedes. I mean, I really like Cespedes a lot. I think he brings that bat to the lineup that we've been lacking. I mean, I would have liked to keep Lester a lot. I mean, I think there's potential that we could re-sign him at the end of the year. But, I mean, I think this is a great deal for the team. I like the trade a lot. How do you guys feel about the trade?
Well, if you were going to tell me on Monday when all this started, when they really started getting serious about, the reality was setting in about John Lester leaving, that you were going to get, Yoenis Cespedes for him, I think that half Boston would have gone crazy. I think we all expected, the kid from, the Bell kid from Pittsburgh, the Seaver kid who they weren't going to get from the Dodgers, or any of those young Double-A studs who projected out to be 5-tool players. But when you return a guy like Cespedes in an area where the Red Sox have been notoriously weak the last 2 seasons, or actually probably the last 5 seasons since Manny left.
I'd say since Manny left.
Yeah, absolutely.
A right-handed outfield bat with some pop who can hop in the middle of the lineup. I mean, to come away with that, not a bad job by Ben and crew over there on Yawkey Way.
Yeah.
Again, this is Dan Brothers, our guest on the show this week. Shayne couldn't make it. we're happy to have him. You know.
Very happy to have him.
Very
You know,
happy to have
it's
him.
always great to talk sports with my old man. You know.
Yeah, you know, I want to see you guys getting in a heated argument tonight.
Oh, that'll happen, trust me.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it's happening. But, I mean, as we said, John Lester dealt to the A's, along with John Lackey was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals for outfielder / first baseman Alan Craig and pitcher Joe Kelly. Again, I'm going to ask you guys, I mean, Mark, you never really got to go in the last one either, but what do you think of this trade, Mark?
I really like Alan Craig.
Yeah.
I think Alan Craig's a very good player. You know, he's also going to add to that middle of the lineup. You know, in next year, if you're 3, 4, 5, and 6 hitters are going to be Cespedes, Ortiz, Napoli, and Alan Craig. Already right there, you got a pretty good middle of the lineup right there, and that brings back that that pop that you were missing. And one thing that my dad didn't mention was that I think that Cespedes is going to have a field day at Fenway, especially with the monster in left. Because in Oakland, also his numbers aren't the greatest in the world, but in Oakland you got to think too. Oakland is a pitcher's ballpark. It's not a big time hitter's ballpark. It's one of the deepest parks in the game. So I think the transition for Cespedes would be great. Coming to Fenway, and he's going to be able to use the wall nicely. And the Alan Craig deal, I really like it. So. So yeah, I really like the direction they're heading in. I think they had to do it. I think Cherryton really showed some guts in making these moves because all these guys, especially Lester, a big fan favorite, a big clubhouse guy. Fans in Boston probably mixed reactions, but I say that was definitely a win for the Sox. Definitely the direction they're heading, and they need those bats. And right now our pitching rotation isn't what it should be, but I have faith that they're actually going to make a couple moves and revamp that pitching rotation. Really make a real push for another World Series run next year.
Mark, but a lot of what this trade comes down to is if they can sign Cespedes after next year.
Yeah. I
mean, for those who don't know, Cespedes is a free agent after next year. He's getting 8.5 per this year. I mean, I think that's crucial. I think they need to lock him up long term.
Yep.
I mean, I think we need to see how his performance is, obviously at Fenway, see how he reacts to the big media market. But I mean, I think we need to lock him up long term. I mean, they didn't sign Lester, but I mean, he's relatively cheap right now. I think that's a move we should make.
Yep.
He's he's hitting 256 this year with 17 homers and 67 RBIs, 303 on base percentage. I mean, I think with a good hitting coach, he can raise that average up. I mean, he's a career 262 hitter with 23 home runs in 2012 and 26 in 2013. I think the trade with Cespedes, I think it's a great trade. That's all I can really say about it.
Well, I think you guys are both missing the covert in this whole thing here. Cespedes may not be here long.
You don't think so?
Okay, I mean, think about what the Red Sox just did. They made all those moves. They did it for veterans. They did not deplete their farm system. Okay, we forget where Cespedes is from. He's from Cuba. Okay, the Cuban population in Miami is huge. Okay,
I was waiting to bring
this
up.
To sit there and if you package a Xander Bogaerts, you package you own a Cespedes, and a couple of those prospects you have in the minors, maybe one of the good pitchers, maybe a Johnson, or maybe even a Renato, who pitched very well tonight for the Sox, in a deal for Giancarlo Stanton. Now you're talking about something big. And who knows, Miami may also have one of those, or Florida, whatever they call the Marlins these days. They also may have one of those pitchers floating around who are at the end of their contract, a Josh Johnson or somebody in that staff who they know they're not going to sign, they could throw in there, and all of a sudden you get your pitcher and you get a bigger bat than Cespedes in the flip deal where Cespedes can get out of Miami and be the big-time player in the drawdown there.
See, I think this also attains there's something going on that we don't know. I think there's something, I think this team, they're going to play out the year. Whatever happens, happens. I think it's the Red Sox mentality. They're planning for next year and next year's offseason. They have a plethora of outfielders right now between Daniel Nava, Victorino, Alan Craig, Jackie Bradley, Cespedes. You can throw Mookie Betts in there, Brock Holt. There's so many.
But Mike, first of all, listen, Nava's not going to be here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he was a 1.5 year wonder. Okay, Mookie Betts, I think that they're sitting there and they're showcasing And apparently Betts made a great catch tonight in the game against the Yankees from what I was reading. But Jackie Bradley is a Coco Crisp type center fielder.
He's better.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coco Crisp played the best center field that I've seen since Fred Lynn. And you guys may not know who Fred Lynn is because he's very old. But he's a terrific center fielder. He covers ground. You know, he's got a good arm. He leads the majors in outfield assists. So, I mean, this kid can do it on one end. All right, you can't carry a Stephen Drew and a Jackie Bradley Jr.'s bats because of the defense. You can carry one, you can't carry both.
I mean, speaking of good arms, you guys had to have seen that Cespedes thrown out Howie Kendricks against the Angels.
300 feet?
Oh, he just no look and picks it up, guns it to home plate like it's nothing. I mean, that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's something I would love to see at Fenway Park. And I mean, with him and Jackie Bradley right now are tied for the MLB lead in this outfield assist with 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they can, no one's running on them, basically. You know what I mean? No one's going to be running on them.
Hey, Dad, back to what you were saying. Like, this is what I'm gonna first disagree with you on.
Oh.
You know, you said something about, shipping that, Cespedes and, whoever down to Miami for Giancarlo, but I disagree. I really think the prospect buildup was all to get, it was a trade for an arm next year. I know there's a couple of good arms out there next year, a couple of good starting pitchers. For example, you got Max Scherzer, who's a free agent. Wait
a second now, ho. Scherzer's going to turn 30 years old. The Red Sox have taken a hard line on 30-year-olds. He was offered a 6-year deal at $144 million. Okay? Why are all of a sudden the Red Sox going to get involved in Scherzer? Because it goes against all their rules, and for the most part, their rules are pretty good.
Hey, hey, I agree, but it's a guy I think you have to take a look at. I mean, like, past 2 seasons been lights out. He's probably arguably a top 3, top 5 pitcher in baseball in the past 2 years. But you're right. They don't like those 30-year-olds, and I also think that bringing back John Lester is not out of the question.
Okay.
There's been a lot of talk about James Shields.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring James Shields in, but I really think that those prospects were built up. I'm gonna touch on the prospects real. Edwin Escobar and Heath Hembry are both top 10 prospects in the Giants system that we got for Jake Peavy. Are you kidding me?
Jake Peavy.
I mean, a guy who has 1 win this year, and we get
1 and 8,
and we get 2 top 10 prospects in the Giants system. I mean, and also Escobar is in Baseball America's top 100 prospects overall. So, I mean, absolutely stole that trade with Jake Peavy, and I think those guys will end up being packaged. I think to get an arm. That's my theory.
Well,
I'll let you guys talk about it.
Before you start, exploiting on the toys of Edwin Escobar, he's got a 5+. He's got a 5+ ERA right now. He's struggling in Double-A ball. Okay, Embry is the lone guy. Hembry. I'm thinking of Alan Embry.
Alan Embry, yeah.
Great moment in Red Sox history.
Yeah.
Ground ball to
Pokey Reese, he has it.
But, Embry's got a 3.75 ERA, and even Eduardo Rodriguez, the guy that they got here from the trade for Andrew Miller from the Orioles, is struggling. So as much as they're highly touted, okay, they're certainly struggling as well. So, there's a reason why they're prospects and not pros yet, and that's probably the big thing there.
Well, I mean, hey, all prospects, they're young kids. You give them a little time to develop, obviously. But, I really think that there's some, obviously, as Mike said, there's something that we don't know about, and I think they got something up their sleeves. They're not going to let this rotation go into next year. I mean,
Mark, that's what I liked about your point, though, was I don't think they need another bat right now. I mean, as much as I think we have what it takes to get Giancarlo Stanton, like you said, Mr. B, but I think we can put this lineup out there and they can hit. I think if we focus on getting a Cole Hamels or a James Shields, or even both for that matter, I think pitching is what the Sox needs right now. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know how all in they're going on these young pitchers, but I think an arm is what we need more than anything right now.
I think we need 2 of them because
yes,
I mean
I agree.
I don't think I think that next year I think that one of those two of those young guys out of, De La Rosa, Webster, Workman, Kelly, and Renato. I think two of those guys, not Kelly, De La Rosa, Webster, Workman, and Renato. I think two of those guys will be in the rotation this year. I think they got to go out and get two more arms.
I mean, you still have that stud, Henry Owens, that just got moved up to the AAA, too.
Yeah, the kid from Portland, the lefty?
Yeah, he's the 1 or 2 prospect in our system right now.
He's first in every major pitching category in AA except for whip.
Yeah.
And, of course,
he's second in that, by the way.
You've also got Daniel Johnson, who's in that same boat as well. And, of course, his mom was one of the Doublemint Gum twins back from the late 60s, early 70s. So it'll be very interesting to see if she's held her beauty throughout the 40 or 50 years she's been around.
It's great.
She made it big.
It's great to have some throwback insight here on the show, big guy.
Yeah.
But, guys, let's focus on the guys we got in the trades a little bit here rather than who we left. I mean, what do you guys think of Cespedes?
Well, he's a stud athlete. He's a guy who's in great shape. It might be some of those funny supplements he may be taking from Cuba, but he's never been linked to any PEDs or anything like that. He's a guy who's in tremendous physical condition. A lot of the tweets today have been talking about what a great athlete he is. Great arm, powerful bat. A couple of the writers from Oakland are very upset this trade was made. If you sat there and read some of the headlines from the West Coast, the big part about the West Coast is that they're upset about this trade. They just took their number 3 hitter. And as much as pitching is a big thing, okay, with the A's losing in the playoffs, the big thing in the playoffs they've had has been that they haven't hit. And you saw the Red Sox last year. You need timely hitting to sit there and get there. So in that regard there, it's very, very important that this is a guy who's pretty good. And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that's the, as you said earlier, we haven't had a right-handed hitter like this probably since Manny, a guy with that much pop, hey, his athleticism, he's great. He's great defensively. Unlike Manny, he's great defensively, even though I think Manny didn't get enough credit as an outfielder because I think he played the wall better than anyone except for Hideki Matsui, who I thought Hideki Matsui was the best player in the wall. And, to have a guy with the combination, that athleticism and like that and that pop, one of those guys, obviously, like, the term in football is, one of those home run hitters, one of those big play guys, you know what I mean?
Yep.
A guy who can just...
See, I think he's going to be in right field, though. I don't think he'll be in left field.
No. They're going to play him in right. They're going to play Craig in left because, obviously, it's a little bit difficult to play right field in Fenway than to play... I mean, you can argue that, but there's more ground to cover in right field.
Yeah, I agree.
And, as I said, though, he's one of those guys that can just give you that, granted, like, his average is, he's at, what, like 253 this year, I think it is, for his average. But
256,
256.
Yeah, you're right.
But, he adds, like, one game, he'll go, like, 0 for 3, but, like, the next game he'll go for, like, 3 for 4 with, like, 2 home runs and 5 ribbies, you know what I mean? Like, he adds that sizzle, you know what I mean? He adds that...
that pop.
Yeah, pop and that, and that big play ability. Like, he's always a threat when he gets to the plate to make a big play, to make something happen. So I think that's great for the Sox.
See, I said this
forward.
to Shayne yesterday. Me and Shayne, we talked when we went out to Fenway. We got some interviews, and I was talking to Shayne, and I said I think he's the Yasiel Puig of the American League. He brings that flair, that bat. He's not there every night, but when he's there, man, he's there. Yeah. He is there, and he's there to play. I mean, I think what it comes down to.
Yeah. I think he has a potential to be.
Potential to be a stud.
He's a 4-tool player. He doesn't hit for a high average, but he has power, he has speed, he can play the field, and he's got a great arm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
And that's really, we haven't had Victorino played very well in right last year, but it seems that, his injuries just seem to be taking over, and they're not getting any better.
Yeah.
Coach Farrell didn't like his gait yesterday. That was the big talk around town today. So if you sit there and look at him, now you've got Cespedes who's going to play that right field. He has a good arm. One less place you have to worry about. But more importantly, he's in a power spot, and he's a power guy.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot.
In a great ballpark for hitters, also.
Yeah,
Much better than Oakland, at least.
Oh God, Oakland is just. I mean, Oakland with a foul territory is as big as the fair territory.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for right-handed hitters, at least, for a guy like him who's he's pulling the ball a lot. I mean, like, those line drives and fly ball outs that are in Oakland and to left fields, those are going off the wall.
Right,
Exactly.
It's a double. You know what I mean? So, I think he's gonna. I think the Monster's gonna see a lot of dents from Cespedes in the next couple of years, and hopefully, long term. Because I hope they sign this guy long term because, as I said, next year's 3, 4, 5, and 6, Cespedes, Ortiz, Napoli, and Alan Craig. That's the middle of the lineup we're looking for.
Well, that leads me to what I want to talk about next. Alan Craig. I mean, we seen him in the World Series last year with that Middlebrooks, that play at third base where Middlebrooks supposedly tripped him on third base.
Sure he did. He was trying to win the game.
Of course, you can't blame him. I don't think he tripped him on purpose.
Plus,
though.
I think it also impressed Jenny.
Yeah.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Exactly. It's Belichick's motto.
Yeah. Easy with that, okay?
We'll get to that later.
So, Alan Craig, I mean, he's owed $2.7 million per through 2017. He bats right, throws right. This year so far, he's had a little off year. I mean, he's hitting .237 this year with 7 homers and 44 RBIs. He's got an on-base percentage of .291. He's a .291 hitter, though. I mean, that's what it really comes down
Lifetime
to.
hitter,
He's a career .291 hitter, and I mean if he's getting those base knocks like we need. I mean, in the 5-6 hole, that's exactly what we need. He's hitting for double. The power isn't necessarily there, but he's hitting for doubles, singles, just getting those base knocks. He'll see the wall a bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've got some concerns.
Of Alan Craig?
With Craig. I mean, what is 237 this year?
Yeah.
That's the real question. Is that an anomaly? I mean, because you look at the previous years, it's 315, 307, 357, where he was an all-star 2 years ago, one of the better outfielders in the game. And my big concern with both him and Kelly is that when National Leaguers cross over to the American League, there's a little bit of a drop-off.
They tend to struggle.
And you can look
especially the AL East.
Well, I don't care where it is. It's a different league. It's more of a power pitching league. You don't have the designated hitter in there. And you can look no further than his former teammate, Pujols.
Yeah.
Who's come to the American League. Now he's starting to pick it up a little bit, but he hasn't had the success that he had in St. Louis, where he was just a mammoth stud.
Yeah, he was raking in St. Louis.
And now he's in
best hitter in the game in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Well, not even a doubt.
Yeah.
And now he goes to Anaheim. He gets on the plus side of 30, by the way, in case you want to do that. And all of a sudden the numbers come down a bit. Not catastrophically. I hope that Craig is fighting through some injuries this year, which has been reported. I don't think St. Louis handled it too well. Apparently, he found out through television that he had gotten traded. So hopefully he brings a little bit of an edge here, and hopefully he can be the guy who can help out in the lineup here. He had a great World Series last year. He was one of the shining stars for the Cardinals against the Red Sox.
And he was hurt in the whole series.
Of course. Well, everybody's hurt that time of year. I don't want to hear that.
He was injured during the
But everybody's hurt that kind of
didn't get cleared to the World Series though. So, playing through an injury, I think it's still he's still playing through that now. As you said, big guy.
Along with Alan Craig and the John Lackey deal to St. Louis was Joe Kelly, who's a 26-year-old right-handed pitcher. He's been in the league for 2 years now. I mean, this year he has a 4.37 ERA, which is tough. 25 strikeouts. He's 2-2. I mean, he has a career 3.25 ERA, but I mean, what does that mean? I mean, he hasn't been in the league that long, so he's a 7-14 career pitcher with 179 strikeouts in his career. I mean, I think they see a lot of potential in this guy because he's only 26. But I mean, at the same time,
how's it risky? I'm trying. You know what? I don't understand that one, Mike. Explain to me how it's a little bit risky.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say for what we got for Lackey, it's a great trade. But I'm saying to rely on Kelly next year in the sense that he can be an impact pitcher in our starting rotation. I think that's very risky to make.
Well, I think that what do you expect him to be? I mean, right now he's the number 2 guy next year behind Clay Buchholz.
Yeah, well,
okay. So I mean, you certainly are going to have some issues with that. I think my comparison to him, I hope he could be like another National League pitcher that we brought over here at one point in time in his career back in 2003, and that is Bronson Arroyo. You know, if he can be a guy like that, you know, a number 4 starter, maybe a guy who can go long in the bullpen, you know, a guy who can get you some innings. Hopefully he's healthy. And truthfully, I think that if you can get that out of Joe Kelly, that makes this deal even better.
Well, actually, hey, big guy, first of all, Bronson Arroyo went to the National League after he played for the Sox because if you remember.
Excuse me, I said Bronson Arroyo, when he came to the Sox, he came from Pittsburgh.
No, he came from our system.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he did.
He was traded from Pittsburgh to the Red Sox. Then he came up through Pawtucket where we saw
his perfect game. That's what I was just about to say.
This is why we have them on, so they can make their father-son argument.
But he was traded. I'll get you some information on that one.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Okay, so he was that's how he got here. And you know, if they can get out of him out of Kelly what Arroyo gave the Red Sox then, I think it'd be a great pickup.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you know, Arroyo was so key in that 04 run we had. You know, he did everything we needed him to do. If he needed to start a game, he started a game. If he needed to come out of the bullpen, he came out of the bullpen. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I guess we'll just see how this all plays out. And, you know, as I said, you know, they need to make moves in their pitching rotation because guess what? If Clay Buchholz is your opening day starter, I am because, you know, to be honest with you, I can't stand Clay's BS. You know, with all his, you know, his sleeping wrong on his shoulder or holding his baby wrong on his shoulder. It's like, come on, man. You know, last year he's, you know, putting up Cy Young numbers at the beginning of the year. His baby sleeps on wrong, and now his ERA is over 5. I mean, if he's your number 1 starter next year, you're in trouble.
And by the way, Mark, it was Pittsburgh to Boston, 2002 and 2003.
Yep.
So
rule number 1.
Rule number 1. The old guy's got it right.
The old guy does have it right.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think things are looking up. You know, I think, as I said earlier, I think that Cherington showed a lot of guts making these moves because guys like, you know, guys like my boy Pedroia, which I'll get into later, you know, pissing and moaning that my friends got traded away. I'm gonna miss my friends.
Oh, don't stop me,
listen,
please.
Listen. Big problem with Pedroia ever since, and you know.
You don't like Pedroia.
And
make the statement, please.
Okay, I'm gonna make the statement.
You don't like Pedroia?
Nope.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the reason why.
Rest.
I'll tell you the reason why. Ever since, and I understand when this happened in 2012 was an absolute clown show. And when Bobby Valentine came in, absolute clown show. Here's my problem, though. Pedroia's been with us since, you know, he's came up in our system.
2003.
So, yeah, okay. Came up in our system in 03. You know, he came up with us in 2006, 2007. Now listen, I'm going to talk more about Pedroia when we come back, but we're going to take a break real quick.
I mean, we're gonna go to that Clay. I mean, the Sox they're taking this whole thing. They're taking it well. I mean, lead pitcher Clay Buchholz. I mean, he's leading us in this. I mean, we got our producer Dave Larkin was out there last week. He's gonna take us to that Clay Buchholz audio on how he feels about the trade.
What's that?
Do you feel like you can carry the team?
Yeah, I feel good where I'm at right now. I feel healthy, and you know, obviously, as far as the numbers go, hadn't gone one or two this season yet, but you know, I have 10, 11, 12 starts left. I'm just gonna go out there and treat it like it's just another game, and go out and try to do the best I can and help the team win.
What do you take from those guys? Everyone you've had.
A lot, you know. Be around, you know, speaking of, it's a guy that's been around a while now and helped 2 teams win a World Series and was the deciding game winner in both of those World Series. So something like that doesn't come around very often. And then John Lester being around him for the whole time that I've been here, and you know, that's when you say an ace pitching staff, that's John Lester, and that's why I think he's gonna do big things wherever he goes.
Buck, what does it mean to you that
last year, obviously the World Series win, and now at this point, 7 guys traded in these last couple of days?
Yeah, it's you know, waking up in the morning and seeing what's going on, knowing that when 3:30 rolls around, that it's probably going to get pretty hectic.
Okay.
You know, the only thing I can say about it is
So that's one.
that's the business side of baseball.
So that's
Quarter up already.
Things happen, and just got to take what you're given sometimes.
Is it tough to see John go, see John Lester and John Lackey go?
Yeah, you know, Johnny Gomes he's a different animal. He's a competitor, and that's what he brought. That's what he brought to the team. It was fun being around him.
Just give me the sign.
Someday we all die anyway.
The 1 minute sign.
Just not during the 9 months during the season. We'll do it.
Clay, do you feel we need you to get started?
All right, cool.
Thank you.
And that was Clay Buchholz, obviously talking about the Lester deal, losing Lackey. He obviously has high praise for those guys. I mean, they were his boys. You know, those were his good friends. Those are the guys he went out with. Those are the guys he hung out with.
Yep.
I mean, you got to have high praise for those guys. They're veterans, you know.
Understandable, and you know, but I think Clay was very, very professional when he made his statements. You know, he acknowledged the fact that, yeah, like, you know, you become close to those guys, but at the same time, you know, you got to move on. Like, you know, you got to move on. And like, my problem is, and you know, I was just talking about my, you know, before, you know, we went to the Clay Buchholz interview, I didn't get to finish my whole.
Yeah, I'd love to hear this.
You know, make it quick.
I'll make it quick.
Okay, because you know what? We know how you feel. I'd rather talk about Lester than Dustin
He's your
Pedroia.
father. You won't get food tonight, man. You won't get dinner tonight.
I already did it tonight, so we're good.
He'll be
Again,
but
we're here at the greatest bar at 262 Friend Street in Boston. We got, I don't even know his name, some great DJ over there. He's absolutely killing it. We have beautiful women everywhere. I see Mark dozing off looking at all the chicks over here while we're trying to focus on our show over here. But, I mean, it's bumping in here. I mean, get down here. We're killing it. We're live right now. I mean, greatest bar's bumping.
Yeah. No, always is. We always have great Friday nights up in here.
Don't mean to interrupt your rant, but that's what they pay us to do. So.
Yep. You know, you guys don't really want to hear my Pedroia rant that I think he's
30 seconds less. I want to rant on Lester.
He's a big baby. You know, hey, it's a business. You know what? If you want to go play in Little League, go play in Little League, okay? If you want to go play with your friends, go play in old man's baseball. If you want to be in a man's game, it's a business. It's a business before fun. I don't care what anyone says. For the love of the game, no, it's a business, okay? These guys get paid a lot of money to do this, and it's a business. And Pedroia does not understand that, and it really gets me aggravated. And ever since 2012, granted, the Bobby Valentine thing was a joke.
With the Euclid stuff.
But you're a leader of the team. You got to act like a leader. You can't just sit there and say, oh, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play hard because I don't like the guy who was coaching my team. Guess what? Your boss, he's your boss. And above him, at the time, you know, was Charrington. That's your boss. And guess what? You got to respect the decisions. You got to play no matter what. Because you know what? Hey, Dad, if you show up tomorrow and you had a problem with your boss and you bitched and moaned about it and you gave him crap, what would happen? You'd get fired. So you know what? It's your job, okay? I don't care about the whole love of the game thing. Stop complaining. I understand that you're friends, but stop complaining. Move on and play the game. That's it. Thank you, guys.
You know, I'll make this quick and I'll make it brief. All right. The last thing, even though Pedroia said it, the last thing I have ever seen out of Dustin Pedroia in his years here, a lack of effort and lack of hustle. He plays hurt. He plays hard. He plays dirty. He's not afraid to get his uniform dirty. I don't think Dustin Pedroia is a problem with the Red Sox, and that's all I have to say about that.
Well, would you say that would attribute to his number lines being down?
You know, I have
for
a
the way
theory.
He plays.
I have a theory on Pedroia, okay? And I watch it, and having coached the state championship baseball team, if you got that one in the resume as well. Not that I'm a baseball know-all, end-all, but I think his bat's too heavy. He has his bat. The barrel's about the size of a telephone pole on it. I don't think he gets it in the strike zone quick enough. I would be very, very interested to see what it is. I just think he wears down. I mean, he's what, 160 pounds soaking wet?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
okay.
5 foot nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I think that, you know, he just gets into those modes where he wears down and it's tough to sit there and come back to. So that's all I have to say there. Let's talk about Lester.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get on to next, Mr. Brothers. You said you had a rant to go on about him, but first I just want to ask you guys, what do you think? I mean, there's a lot of rumors. Pete Abraham just wrote that article about his sources are telling him that the Sox are going to make a hard push at Lester in the offseason, but he said, I'm not going to listen to my sources on this one. I don't think they're going to do it. How do you guys feel about this? I mean, personally, I think they'll make a run at him, but I think market value for Leicester right now, I mean, the market value is 6 for 145. They're not going to give him that. They're not going to give him anything like that.
Nah, I don't think so either. And, you know, the only way Leicester comes back is if he takes a hometown discount. If he comes back with 5 and 125, then the Sox will give him that. But I think it's realistic, but is it going to happen?
Again, I mean, how everyone's taking it, the fans, they're all taking it differently. I mean, some guys want Leicester. They want to keep the hometown hero Leicester. Some people, I mean, a majority of the people like the trade. Again, me and Shayne were outside Fenway yesterday, and we heard from a few fans that were happy with the trade. We'll cut to that right now.
So what do you think of all the Red Sox acquisitions today?
Well, you know what they had to do, what they had to do. I mean, it wasn't working out the way it was going, so the last time we did this, we ended up winning a few World Series when Theo was in town. So maybe it'll work again.
That's very true. What do you think of getting rid of John Lester?
Tough call. I mean, I thought he'd be a Red Sox. You know, you never want to see a guy like that leave, you know, especially the World Series, how he performed in the playoffs and stuff. So it's going to be a tough loss, but, you know, I got faith in the guys. I got faith in the front office.
What do you think of Yohannes Cespedes coming in?
I think it's a good pickup. I mean, we need a little pickup. We need a little, you know, spark, something to get us going, and maybe not this year. Or just finish up strong. Maybe start this weekend with the Yankees, and who knows? Maybe we'll get something going for next year.
Lastly, what do you think about Stephen Drew going to the Yankees?
I don't know. They just take all the guys that are kind of we're done with anyway,
Exactly.
So it doesn't bother me one bit.
The fans, a majority of the fans love it. I mean, from what I've seen so far, I mean, all the fans love it. But, I mean, we've met a few guys on the street that they weren't too fond with the trade. I mean, a lot of people think Lester's the hometown hero and that we need to keep him around. And I mean, it was trending on Twitter, the hashtag Pay Lester. I mean, a lot of people were upset to see him go. I mean, I know Lou Merloni went off on EEI, and he was really upset about the trade. Again, we're going to go back to Fenway, and we're going to get some more fan reaction on that one.
We're here with Adam outside of Fenway Park. Adam, Red Sox were able to make a lot of moves today before the trade deadline ended. What do you think of the moves that they're able to pull off there at the end?
I think they're fantastic. I think we have a great chance to get Lester for next year. We got Cespedes for another year. We're making moves, and we're getting good players.
How about Lackey? Did you think at any point that they were going to maybe re-sign him, or do you like the fact that he maybe has moved on also?
I don't think that we were going to re-sign him. I don't even know if he was going to next year. I think it's good. I think it's good that he's gone. He can go prove himself with another team and maybe make a shot for it, retire next year with them.
And the biggest question of all, what do you think about Stephen Drew to the Yankees? How about that one?
Did that actually even happen? I didn't hear about that one.
Oh yeah, Stephen Drew to the Yankees. Got rid of him.
I'm fine with that. Good. I'll have them cash in our paycheck.
I wish fans. I'm getting to the point, Mark. You've been convincing me where I almost feel that I wish Red Sox fans were more okay with the Patriots approach, where everyone has a value coming in and out of the system, and that it's a business, whether you don't get any emotional attachment to anyone. I mean, every emotional attachment besides Tom Brady we've had, Bill shipped out, or they've retired, or something along those lines, you know?
Yeah, and the Patriots are not the most successful team in New England for no reason. I mean, their record stands for speaks for itself. The most successful team in Boston because they treat it like a business. They don't care about players' feelings.
They don't at all.
All they care about is winning. And they're going to put the best product in the field for the best price. So that's...
Well, you know what? I want to talk about Lester. I kind of feel, that fan who didn't like the trade, I can understand what he's thinking about and how it's going. The problem is that if you look at the course of events in the John Lester situation, how it broke down, he came on in spring training. He sat there and he said he was willing to take a hometown discount. He's represented by the Levinson brothers. Dustin Pedroia took a hometown discount. And then somehow it got leaked out the Red Sox made that offer of 5 at 70 or whatever it was. And you know what? That was great. But my problem is that we never heard about, did the Red Sox make a counteroffer, or did Dustin Pedroia go to them, John Lester go to them and say, okay, I'll take 120 over 5 and a 6-year vested. I don't think that ever happened. That's what my problem with the whole thing is.
I'd like to bring up a conspiracy theory. This is so random. Back to the topic of Lester potentially re-signing. Lester, like you said, is represented by the Levingston brothers, who also represent Dustin Pedroia. Levingston brothers also represent Alan Craig, and they also represent Joe Kelly. I mean, that's 4 out of the 6 players. That's 4 out of the 6 players in the trade, which arises a question of a conspiracy that Lester could resign. I mean, we're coming into the last few minutes of the show. I'd like to just basically get what you guys think of the chances of Lester resigning are. Because that's
0%. I'll tell you where he's going to be next year. You want to know?
Well, if you say the Yankees.
He's going to the pinstripe.
Yeah.
They either that. I don't see the Dodgers doing it. He's going to pinstripes because the Yankees will pay him an ungodly amount of money, a la Ellsbury, 7 years. They don't care about the last 2 or 3 years. They don't care if he breaks down then, a la Sabathia or what have you not. They'll take the best 4 years and move forward. I'd have to say they're the front runners in the clubhouse.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately I have to agree with Big Guy. I'm not counting it out, but if someone was holding the gun to my head, I'd say he's not coming back next year.
You know, I'm gonna throw. Yeah, well, but you say Yankees. Yankees is your team. I know it takes a lot.
You know what? I'm actually going Dodgers.
Okay.
If he doesn't go to the Yankees.
Well, I'm gonna stay West Coast. I kind of have a wild card here. You know, I think the Seattle Mariners could make a real run at him.
Oh, okay, I like it.
Bring him home.
I think they bring him home exactly. I mean, I think they have the money. I mean, like Mr. Brothers just said, to bring him home. I mean, we clearly saw with the Cano deal, they have the money to make deals. I mean, after that, they might not have much more left over, but I mean, I definitely think that. I mean, I think it's the Yankees. Like, I just can't say it, you know? So I'm saying the Mariners, basically, because I can't bring myself to say the Yankees. But when I go to sleep every night, I'm going to sleep thinking John Lester is going to be on the Yankees next year. I mean, we're coming to the last minute of the show here, boys. I know we have some sweet final words prepared. I'd like to go. Mr. Brothers, what do you got first? I know you got something
first
good.
First of all, thanks to you guys for inviting me on and take Shayne's place. I mean, I don't know if I'm the new Lou Gehrig and he's Wally Pipp, but, you know, my final thoughts go to Ty Law, inducted tonight into the Patriots Hall of Fame. Made the big play in the 2001 Super Bowl. A great cornerback. You know, talent-wise, he wasn't one of the best in the league, but I think on the field he certainly did. He was an ideal guy to play in Parcells' system.
Okay, well, you know what? My final word, first of all, you know, I like to give a shout out to the Grace Bar for having us, as usual. Also want to give a shout out to my brother who's around somewhere. He's home for the weekend for his birthday. And, you know, it's always great to have him home. Also, hey guys, you know, speaking of the 2001 season, you know, I had this trivia question that I want to ask you guys. When Troy Brown blocked the punt against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 0-1 chip,
Antoine Harris.
Wow.
Let's see forward.
Wow,
wow.
He's good.
Mikey, your turn.
You just won. You won the show.
You won.
Number 23, in case you're wondering.
Hey, it's all my favorite trivia question.
You're up.
I think you might have just earned yourself a permanent role in the show.
It's going to be picked up by Troy Brown. He let us Antoine Harris.
I mean, I don't really have a witty final word like these guys do. I just want to say thank you to our producer, Dave Larkin.
Thanks, Dave.
I want to say thank you to S.J. Torres, Bill Fairweather, everyone here from Dirty Water News out here supporting us, all our friends and family that are here. The Greatest Bar at 262 Friend Street. We're absolutely killing it right now. The music is ripping my ears off right now. It's so loud in here. There's so many girls, so many women. The booze is flowing. And I'd just like to say give us a follow on Twitter at Shayne and Mike, at mbrothers523, and at Big Daddy523 if I'm not mistaken. Then you can give me a follow at Grinnell22. Thank you for the great show.
See you guys next week.
See you guys next week. We love that dirty water, baby.
And the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36. Red Sox win from worst to first. 2013.
This is the Shayne and Mike Show on Dirty Water News. Bringing the highlights and hard hits. We love that Dirty Water.